So one of my coworkers came in tonight, and I could immediately see it in his face. It's like, everything all right? And he's like, oh yeah, I just don't feel well. And I told him, I said, man, if you're not feeling well, go home. And it kind of had that perplexed look that we all get, like you want to, but you don't. And I just looked him in the eye. and said, you only get one health, and then you could see the mind bomb go off. And what I mean by that is the epiphany that we only do get one true health. And when you have something like that, you really have to nurture it over something like your job position. I understand, like, not every day that we don't feel good warrants us just calling out, not going to work. But there's times, if you're feeling contagious, you definitely want to look out for your coworkers. And I explained to him that you're only setting yourself back a lot of the times when you are taking the time to not really address your own needs as far as healing and recovering from something. We all get the occasional bug. We all get those things, but what we really need is the ability to tell ourselves, okay, I can sit this one out. Especially in jobs like this. A lot of these places, they are going to replace you, quicker than you can find another job if you were to leave. So in that capacity, we have to keep in mind that the work will keep going, the machine will keep turning, all of that stuff, whatever phrase you want to put to it. So take the time to focus on yourself when it comes to that. And that is not only physical health, that is emotional, psychological health, all spiritual health. If you really just feel like you are just not in a place to report to work and be effective and productive for yourself first, then I would suggest using the sick day. I know a lot of times we're talking about wants and needs and things like that. And again, we have to measure those things. Which is it? What do we need from ourselves? And does it trump a want in that capacity? I need to call out rather than I just want to. So we really have to look at that and say, you know what, this isn't the day for me. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll bounce back, but give yourself the opportunity for that to happen by just saying, you know what, I want to report. And that's the sign of a good person. And he and I agreed. I said, what you're doing is you're almost competing with yourself, because as athletes, things like that, we take these challenges on to say, what, I'm going to grind through this, because in a lot of times in sports, you play through pain, you play through sometimes injury, things like that. And so this is that same kind of feel that just says, you know what, I can power through this. And a lot of times that's not a bad thing, but you want to make sure that in the long run, it is not to your detriment. And there's something to be said about bumps and bruises versus something like possibly a virus or, the flu or something like that, where it's going to get worse if you don't rest it for your earnings. Now, I'll get off the sports thing, but we just want to make sure that we give ourselves the real opportunity to recover and then bounce back and come back, in a full capacity. Otherwise, what could be a 1 or 2 day cold can turn into weeks if we're not careful, and that can be to a larger detriment. So, what are your thoughts on this? And this is not just about my job. This is just about any job in general. I would recommend people go home, because I've stayed too many times. I've come in too many times. And not only was it to my physical detriment, sometimes it's a little to your mental, because you know that you're there and you're not feeling well. And more often than not, unfortunately, it goes unappreciated by our employers and our coworkers, who see you drag yourself in. But we've all been there on some level. So leave your advice, comment, experience, the ace up the sleeve, in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think on this one. I'm sure that it goes kind of like, if you're going to spread something, stay home. But a lot of times you can spread bad energy. You can spread not necessarily a mental disposition, but you can certainly come and infect or influence affect and influence other people around you just with that mindset. So we really want to be mindful of what we are bringing to work, and even what we're bringing back home a lot of times. So we just have those ebbs and flows in life. But again, I want to hear from you guys. Please leave it in the comments. Subscriptions to the channel are free. And as always, I hope this finds everybody in your place, pursuit or beginnings of total health, mind, body, and soul. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.